Now we'd like to move on to the fifth participant. I'd like to request the presence of Alvreyna Cherienda Saputro to deliver her story.
Mama! The lights are out again! Halala. Alright, sweetie, listen. I'm gonna go check outside, see if it's just our house or it's the entire village, okay? So the mother goes outside, looks around, and shouts back, "It's the entire village. The factories probably forgot they need to share with us. Go tell your father, Lily." So, Lily walks in the dark to the back of her house, where her father's workshop is, and he was carving beautiful wooden sculptures. "Lily, great timing. The lights just turned off, so I can't carve anymore. Want to go to the city? I got some wooden swans to deliver to the rich people." So, Mama was guarding the house during the blackout, while Papa and Lily went to town, which wasn't so far away. One of the reasons why there are so many industrial factories in the area. Even houses in the villages were getting sold off to companies one by one with relatively low prices. The river was also a contributing factor to the increase of factories in the area. But houses in the cities were beautiful, and one of them was about to have a lovely hand-carved wooden swan sculpture. Now, while her father was placing the deliveries, little Lily saw a science fair, and that's when she saw this little girl who shouted out at her, "Hi there! Hi! Do you want to see my booth? It's for my science project. So here I have this turbine. If you turn this around and around and around, the kinetic energy will like turn into this electricity, and that's what's lighting up the bulb here. If you like my science fair booth, you can stamp your finger there. I need it for my school points," said the little girl. And Lily was fascinated with this amazing science fair booth. So she stamped her finger. She wished she could stay longer, but she had to go home. As she went home, she saw as the lights disappeared on the way. So she went back home to her dark village, and it was late by then. So she took a shower, and her parents tucked her to bed when she asked, "Ma, Pa, I saw the girl from the science fair. She turned things around, and then it was able to power up the lights. So that means we don't have to wait for city people to make new cables here. We can just do it ourselves." But then her parents said, "Really? Mama and Papa don't understand that kind of stuff. It's not wise to deal with things you don't understand. It's dangerous. Let the city people do their work, okay, Lily?" And so Lily went to sleep that night, and years passed. The condition of the village has not changed at all. Blackouts were still pretty often. And even though her mother said that, teenage Lily grew to a smart and ambitious teen. Even though elementary to high schools are free of cost, her parents could not afford her to study due to the inflation of fossil fuels causing the prices of goods to rise. They needed Lily to help their finance situations. However, that didn't stop our dear Lily. She would ride her bike to school, and then she would borrow books from schools. She would borrow books from libraries. She would read and read article to article. And as her interest in literature grew, so did her knowledge. Now, one of those days, there was a blackout night. And she was tired because she had to divide her time working as a carving her woods and stuff, and also helping her family with her finance situation. So she was exhausted. She was prepping her bed and there was a blackout. So she was like, ugh, another blackout. And then she remembered, oh, this is just like when I went to the science fair when I was little. I had to go to bed in a blackout. I wonder when the government's gonna make the new cables work. And that's when she realized. Her expression dropped. She looked up to the dead light above her, and she was shocked at herself. She didn't understand. She knew how to keep the light bulb on, but she never tried to do anything about it. So that night, she took all the research books that she had, she took all the articles she had, and she took a scrap of paper and wrote all the things she needed. The next day, she took her savings and went to town. And when she returned, her mother saw her with hordes of random items, and she was like, Lily, what is this? Buying garbage. And Lily was like, no, Mama, this is investment for the lights. We don't need more light, honey. You and Papa can work on carving the wood during daylight, and when the lights are just not on, you can do something else. No, it's not like that. We could have saved so much money if we make our own electricity. Furious, her mother could not understand her daughter, but Lily continued her project anyway. She would scribble on paper and paper. She tried and tried, and she was only working on this project 1 hour a day because she was squeezing this one with helping her parents and also carving wood. Both her parents thought it was a waste of time. They thought it as no more than a helpless effort. But it all changed when she connected her small river turbine to the light bulb in her room. And then her father asked, Lily, this is a blackout. How is your light bulb on? Lily then answered, well, I use my DIY turbine to turn kinetic energy into electricity into light. Now, if I could just have more turbines or a bigger one, I could light up the whole house. And that way, we don't have to pay hundreds of rupiahs to electricity companies. Plus, it's sustainable, it's free, and the river is an abundant source of water that we can use to create electricity. And when neighbors realized that the only house powered up during blackouts was Lily's, they asked Lily to do theirs too. Soon enough, the whole village was powered up, and everyone was spending less and less money on electricity. Villagers then have more productive time, more access to devices or gadgets to help production, and the village managed to grow out of poverty. As her influence spread, the media started to put her under the spotlight. One reporter then asked her what motivated her to do so, and she said, well, I have always known that sun and water and wind are resources, and I know that can create light, that could create electricity, but I kept waiting and waiting. But now I know that I shouldn't have done that because change starts with ourselves, and we don't have to wait for others. And I think this is the part where I get to say, access to energy is prerequisite for a life of dignity. Renewables are reliable, sustainable, and modern for all. To reach a sustainable and inclusive future, we first must change our mindset. We must be willing to invest in change, encourage those efforts, and not wait. The future doesn't have to wait for another Einstein in the crowd. you could be the Einstein. My name is Alvreyna from 68 Senior High School, and I believe in sustainable and inclusive economic development through the use of renewable energy around the world. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Big applause for Alvreyna, Cherienda, Laviasna Saputro. What a great performance.